Goodbye, nobody, and scratch that, reverse it. Hello, everybody. It is I, Mr. Jonny Wonka, and I'm back. And today is gonna be an important day because to take things much more seriously, today marks 10 years. 10 years since my older sister's passing. This video is gonna be dedicated to her. Oh, and what is this video gonna be about? You saw the title and you clicked on the thumbnail. Today we're gonna be revisiting Monster High. When I was younger, nearly every Halloween, if I can remember correctly, my sister would sit down and watch the Monster High specials that would be on TV at the time. Whenever she did, she would ask me to join her. And since she was my sister, I joined and watched alongside her. It was a nice bonding experience. Talking, laughing, and just watching these spooky mini movies. During Christmas time, I would use my money that I would save up to at least try to get her a doll. Either it be Disney or Monster High. It was a nice tradition of mine. I would try to keep up with the series, but I eventually lost track and forgot about Monster High in general. But now it's been 10 years, and looking back at it, the stories did bleed into each other if I was right, and they were fun if I remember correctly. And if I'm right, they suddenly decided to reboot the series, not once, but twice. Hey, I'm back. So apparently there's 15 animated movies, 3 series, and 2 live-action movies. You know, why not? This video is for my sister. I'm going to watch all 10 animated movies, all 15 animated movies, both live-action movies. No, I'm not gonna cover the web series, all those. I'm not gonna cover the actual series themselves because I know this will take too long. I want to get this video out by her anniversary, and if I did that, I would literally be a fucking corpse. Being said, let's revisit Monster High. For those who don't know, Monster High is a toy brand made by Mattel. And for those who still don't know, Mattel is a toy brand. Mattel was established back in 1945. Actually, hey, wouldn't that be the year of... Mattel created such things as Barbie, Masters of the Universe, and their most famous one, Uno. Monster High was created back in 2010 by Garrett Sander. Garrett Sander worked at Mattel in 2004, working in the packaging department before becoming a product designer. So the idea behind this would come to him in 2007 when going shopping with girls and noticing the type of things they would shop.
In 2007, and I was a packaging designer at Mattel at the time, where I was working on a brand called Mycene, and they were looking to do another brand similar to it. Mycene was called a flanker brand, because it flanked to Barbie. So it went after a girl that maybe wasn't into Barbie. And they were looking for another brand like that. And we went shopping with 12 and 13-year-old girls. They were giving money, and we just wanted to see what they were buying and stuff like that. And so a lot of skulls were happening back then in 2007. They were starting to trickle down into kid stuff. And there was a line called Skull Animals, and their tagline was "Dead animals need love too." And I was like, oh, what if these dead dolls need fashion too? And people laughed, like, ha ha ha, Mattel will never make dead dolls. But I thought there was something there. So I went home and I kept working on it. And I started drawing monster girls, and Frankie came out of my head. And I was like, well, what if it was, a whole bunch of teen monsters that were the teenage children of the famous monsters, but they're trying to do their own thing, be different from their parents. And I went and shared some with my coworkers, and they're like, "This is really fun. We should pitch it to management." And so they're going to take other stuff into testing for that new flanker brand anyway, and they put it in with it, and it just hands down tested the best. They hadn't seen a testing like that before, so we kept working on it. So we worked on it for about 3 years before it came out in 2010.
Being the creator, he would become the design manager of Monster High. One of the main ideas for making these characters was personality, and just to be fun. The characters he created are, yeah, that's a lot, and I'll just put pictures right next to their names, so here are all the characters he came up with. It was a toy line that was aimed towards girls, obviously. Because of this, there would come criticism, which makes sense. Body standards and proportions, the overall spooky and goth aesthetic. Personally, I don't think it's that bad completely, but understandable why some parents would think this, even if some of the arguments are dumb. Garrett would conclude working there in 2018. According to his Instagram account and other sources, he left Mattel due to creative differences. Control moved over to Mattel as they would reboot the series in 2016 and then again in 2021. To help promote the toy line, a companion web series was created to go along with it after the dolls released. This expanded over 15, if I'm correct. Hey Donna, can you check if I'm right?
According to the Monster High Wiki, there are 17 animated movies. Note we are not counting the 2D animated movie from G2 Adventures of Ghoul Squad Holiday Edition. Also note that there was a planned one more film before getting cancelled, so in total we're covering all 15 animated films released and 2 live-action films.
Okay, thank you. The series is split up into 3 generations. G1, 2009 to 2015, G2, 2016-2020, and finally G3, 2021 to now, I guess. Being said, I'm going to talk about and go over each era and their companion movies. So wish me luck, I guess. Production for the line would start in 2009, and the first webisodes would start in 2010. One of, if not the most obvious appeal, is that it's all monster based. You know, the title probably didn't give it away or anything. There are all sorts of monsters from myths and legends, tales, books, and of course, movies. Some are more obvious than others. This is known as the Golden Age for both the show, TV movies, and of course, the doll line. Which I gotta say, looking at these, yeah, these are actually really nice looking. You can tell that they have lots of details and look at this posability right there, damn. Not even on this guy has that much posability. For what the Golden Age is, this is not bad. These are actually nice, and I don't know, if I had a daughter, I think she would like these. They experimented a lot, and they can be showed with the dual molded plastic, and this has 6 arms. That's badass. The designs are great and iconic. But since this is a toy line, and usually these movies are used to promote them, I guess it's finally time to start watching with According to the Monster High Wiki, this is the first animated movie released. It is a 23-minute long episode. The next one is going to be a bit longer and feel a bit more like a natural mini movie. This one kind of acts like a pilot to the webisodes because our main character for this is Frankie Stein, for when she just enrolled into Monster High. It follows her first week at Monster High, and we get introduced to the main cast. She bumps into Deuce, and no, I just realized that Deuce stands for Medusa. Deuce's name is shortened for Medusa.
I'm a dumbass.
After she meets Deuce, she then meets Cleo and Gulia. But after Draculaura and Claudine, she joins some groups but ends up failing. And then there's a sad scene. She goes to the cheerleading tryouts when, oh no, Cleo is the leader. She performs and does a good job with this weird ass frame right here. I don't like it. When all of a sudden her foot rips off and ruins the tryout. She runs to the pool where she meets Laguna, who like comforts her. Also, she's Australian, matey. Bumps into Deuce again, and he freezes this guy Heath because he was acting weird. Cleo offers her another chance, but Frankie decides to lie about having like a boyfriend being Deuce, in which pisses off Cleo and she storms off. And then there's a sad scene again, where she runs into the pool and meets Laguna and Cleo there too, where she then ends up running way off again. She then makes up to Cleo with this random gag that I didn't even mention because it suddenly becomes plot relevant. Basically she gets Justin bite her. In the movie, Draculaura mentions liking him. Later, when talking to Cleo, Frankie states that her father resurrected him. As a favor, she asks him to come to school and perform. In the end, she forms her friend group, and yeah, that ends the first one. It was certainly something. Understandable, because like I'm not 9 years old. It's kind of funny in a way that's like it's been years later, so like watching this now, it feels weird, but yeah. So let's just cut away to our first movie now. Okay, so before this one actually starts, I just want to bring up how I was confused with trying to find this because the cover art shows the CG models, and yet this movie is in 2D. So yeah, totally not confusing. So the movie begins with like the main cast hanging out at the mall, when all of a sudden they get made fun of because Dracula and Claude. Oh, don't worry, he shows up all of a sudden because I decided not to watch like the series, so he's here now. He's Claudine's brother. Anyway, racism exists. Apparently in this universe, werewolves and vampires go to different schools because of war. So later on in the school assembly, they meet other people from the show that I'm not going to mention until they become relevant. Oh yeah, we also meet Claudine's younger sister, Howleen. And then we meet Miss Bloodgood, who's like, maybe the daughter of the Headless Horseman, I presume? Which is, that's pretty cool. She explains how both vampires from the Vampire Prep School and wolves from the Crescent Moon High School are going to be joining Monster High in order to like expand their diversity and like help them get along more. So our main cast is responsible for welcoming these new people. Also, this guy Gil looks like Miss Freeze over here. Then we get help from our friendly neighborhood Yeti, Abby Abominable. Also, let's just appreciate how the werewolves run from the freaking forest to the school, while the vampires just casually show up in cars. I don't know, that just gets me for some reason. So anyways, we have them meeting here, and that...
Ooh, you smell. Maybe it's time to start using your tongues instead of just soap and water.
Oh my god, is that freaking smoke from Fire Emblem? Anyways, Mars from Mortal Kombat and Gory are minor antagonists. They look like they're gonna do something evil, but they then just have off for like the rest of the movie, not really being important. We then meet Claude's friends, Rodimus Prime, and he's racist. Eventually, they devise a plan to like do a dance so everyone can get along, and it somehow works. And because of that, the main conflict is over. And then this guy shows up. So Mr. Van Helscream, monster relations supervisor guy, He just shows up all of a sudden, and he's the main villain from here on out. Also, this teacher who I completely forgot about, Crabgrass. Anyways, they freeze Bloodgood, so make sure not to blink. And they decide, we're gonna restart racism. Frankie and then Abby then like catches on to something happening, so they then try to find the truth. There's also a side plot with Howleen joining like the werewolves because of racism. Also, she gets put into an electric chair right here. So I thought that was pretty funny when they're trying like to manipulate her.
Oh my God, the Scoleri brothers!
He asks Deuce how to like unfreeze people, in which it turns out they need like powder, which is in the office. So they sneak in, grab the powder, Hellscream and Crabgrass notices them at the last second. So they capture them after unfreezing Bloodgood. And it's revealed his plan is to make all the ghouls like against each other because he doesn't want them to have like coexistence because he just doesn't like it. Anyways, Abby is one of the best characters because she actually gets stuff done by making their way out of the cage, while Claude enter the basement catacombs to find them when they just meet this girl Operetta who just appears randomly. Anyways, side plot, Cleo apologizes to Gulia and everyone make it just in time and they stop Hellscream by turning him into stone. So he's dead, I guess. And then they all dance the night away. The end. That was something. This one was a bit longer than the first one. And not the last. I had a tiny bit more fun with this one, laughing at like the weirdness of this one and just how random it is. Like finding out the plot is just racism with extra steps, and how the main villain just shows up out of nowhere was pretty funny. Alrighty, we're now on to like the CGI movie, which at first glance looks nice for the time being. Always remember, even though something may be older, it doesn't mean it's all bad. Yes, there can be good and bad, but again, it mainly depends. Heck, who knows? This probably isn't as good as... So the movie opens up with a pretty nice introduction shot of like us zooming through the building in the catacombs where it's revealed it's Draculaura's birthday, which she now is turning 1600.
What?
Side note, I just want to say that I do like fantasy stuff. Heck, I like anime. But I always question like the logic and like the mind-boggling questions of like the years. Like, how does that work? Like, an example is like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, where he's like around 2,931 years old. Or like Liu Kang and Katana.
I'm sorry, you're 10,000 years old? Oh, talk about aging gracefully.
And like this little British dragon girl. And many years later, where she's now like an adult.
I think it would be very funny for like characters in a fantasy setting to walk into a pub to try to order and the bartender sighs and goes, species and age, while pulling out a massive book holding the drinking age for every type of species capable of purchasing alcohol.
I'm recording this. I decided to look up like how old Claude is in the series, and he's 17. She's 1600. What the fuck? Then it turns out all to be like a daydream. So that didn't happen. And always remember to be careful, because some places have penalties on daydreaming. Except my factory, of course, where all daydreamers are welcome. I have Cleo and Claudine try and like think of like party ideas for Draculaura when they're interrupted by Toraline, who will be a common theme throughout all these movies. But after they all start to shit on, like all the main ghouls start to shit on Claude because like his gifts he's trying to like give Draculaura. Oh yeah, and then Cupid exists that helps with like dating advice, so like yeah, it makes sense. I get this pretty funny part where it's like Claude asks Cupid for help, and he decides to build a giant like step stool ladder to Draculaura's like locker, and so I just find that pretty funny how it's like it's blocking the locker's way, like how you're supposed to open it, and then they give him shit because he built that, thinking like Draculaura thinking he sees her as small, which I can relate to. Why are you like this, my friends? Anyways, we then get backstory where Draculaura had fallen for this guy like 400 years ago called Valentine. He also created Valentine's. Anyways, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. Then she left, but then Toraline like overhears this and plans to ruin it by calling him up and like inviting him to Monster High, where it's revealed that oh no, he's evil and he has this weird broken heart collection, and she wants to break Draculaura's heart. Meanwhile, Cleo and Claudine go through like the catacombs, and they end up finding like this old concert hall while exploring. And oh yeah, they also find Operetta again, who's just like casually roaming the place. Oh yeah, side plot, Gulia might be an atheist. Claude meets up with the group, showing them like a box of stuff, and then immediately gets shit on again. But then, at the same time, Draculaura is taking her driver's test. She ends up failing because Valentine is now here. Oh no. They then have a montage of them catching up, and then Abby is based, and then Draculaura ends up switch sides. Huh? Later on, Valentine uses freaking sonic glasses to see how much she loves him, I guess. Okay. And then because it isn't going up fast enough, he ends up hypnotizing her to like speed up the process, I guess. Devising a plan to how to stop him after Spectra like finds out the truth that yeah, he's evil. They end up going, all of them end up going to Cupid to try to stop Valentine. But Toraline messes up the plan and like steals her crossbow, which is you know, the classic like love bow. They then realize that the box Claude had was the key. So they end up throwing the party in the catacombs just like the beginning of the movie in order to get everyone to go there and like make everyone fall back in love with like the right people. So in the end they fight Toraline and like get the bow back, breaking all the people who fell in love with the bow, and Claude makes up to Draculaura and Valentine. He gives her the box, and it's revealed that what's in the box is all like the memories they've spent together, which is kind of wholesome. Like throughout these movies, they're a really wholesome couple. In the end, she realizes her true love for Claude, and Valentine gets angry, but then he falls into like a pit of stink with Toraline. Don't worry, even though they've said that it like take like 1,000 years just to get all clean, Toraline just ends up being clean immediately the next day. In the end, they all celebrate their Draculaura's birthday, which is nice. Oh yeah, she ends up getting the car.
Everybody can relax, I found the car.
Now that was quite an interesting one. I would say it was pretty enjoyable. It was much of like a love story, obviously. But yeah, I would say it was pretty interesting. At the point I was writing this and watching this one, I would say Claude and Abby were some of my favorites because they're actually fun, and with Abby, the way she just keeps on being like serious all the time and just having good remarks is like really funny. But yeah, that was pretty decent. So the movie begins with like Miss Bloodgood like running down the halls on her horse, and I'm gonna be honest, really love that shot. She basically announced that spring break has started, and we then see our main gang, minus a couple, discussing their plans to go to the Great Barrier Reef, later named the Great Scarier Reef based on this movie title. Also, note how Laguna and Gil talk about meeting her parents. Note, Freshwater and saltwater fish racism confirmed. On their trip, they suddenly get attacked by a freaking kraken. Then we meet our like main antagonist for the movie, Barnaby Furnham. He's like this human circus seller guy, and his servant Kipling. As the main ghouls are like stranded at sea, Furnham sees them and then realizes how Frankie looks like a scientist, and he plans on using her to find the monster. Which, by the way, um, does that mean Frankie is the scientist? Because like how similar they look, and how Frankie is like, like a monster stitch from like several corpses. So food for thought. He takes them to Skull Shore, where we are then introduced to the tiki, and he tricks them into thinking that this place is just gonna be like a short trip for them just to relax for like a day before like heading home. So like the main ghouls start like just exploring the island, just seeing what's around. And they notice how like there's statues of like the person that looks like Frankie. So they go to Farnham, question him, and he basically just tells them that the best kind of surprise is a surprise. Well, everyone else is buying it. Laguna is the only one who doesn't. So Laguna and Gil decide to investigate his boat, and they find out the truth that they're here to capture a beast on the island. At the same time, Furnham then tells the backstory where there was this monster, and only the human scientist was able to like calm him. So he plans on sacrificing like Frankie to do it. We then see the monster approach. The beast then approaches, revealing itself to be just this big purple monster. Purple! The beast then escapes with Frankie, and everyone starts to follow it. After passing out due to like height, Frankie wakes up on the other side of the island, meets Andy, who is the beast but in small form. When they're like trying to save Frankie, Gulia and Abby gets like captured by the tiki, but then they turn the tides, and making the tiki their allies. So basically, the reason Andy is the monster is because he grew up in like a literally normal town, but everyone hated him. So because of that, it then like awakened his power, where it's like the reason it turns into the beast is due to negative emotion. He tries to comfort him, and then and in the end they become friends. And then like Dracula, Claudine, Cleo meet up with Frankie and Andy, but then they also meet up with Furnham and Kipling, and then Abby and Gulia and the Tiki arrive. But Furnham uses his like weird electric cane to like to do like a trade-off for like the beast for like Frankie. As he's about to make his escape, Gil shows up because earlier he leaves Laguna when she gets captured. And it's revealed that the reason he left is that he went to go get a freaking kraken. And in the end, Furnham gets thrown across the giant island. With that over, that ends the movie. Just kidding. There's still stuff to go on, because it then cuts to them like back at Monster High. Everyone's telling how their vacation went, and which is a pretty nice scene. Is that it shows Andy now attending the school and actually enjoying it, until Farnham just enters the school because he put like a tracking device on them and somehow survive being eaten 3,000 yards across the island. Everyone tries to stop him, but he uses his magic cane to throw their attacks right back at them. Also, can we get a note how he's like, I want this beast, and like all you monsters are freaks. He's like, I want to put this beast in like my circus thing, but yet at this point, from what it looks like, humans know monsters exist. Like by the end of the movie, when like he gets defeated, he's like, there's like human like guys at the monster school, like they know where it is and they can clearly see it's like Monster High. So wouldn't like Furnham like wanting to capture like Andy be like monster trafficking or something? We get a King Kong reference. Blink turns on Furnham after hearing like Frankie encourage him. In the end, spring break is extended and they all go back to Skull Shores to have a party. This one was meh. Didn't really get invested into this one that much. Pulled decent scenes here and there, but yeah, it's simple story. Yeah, that's all I kind of have to say for this one. Right off the bat, this movie is 1 hour and 11 minutes. Longer than the earlier ones, which was around usually like 45 minutes. So now we enter the hour-long movies. This is gonna be something. So it's revealed that like Halloween is like gonna happen, and it's revealed how like Halloween is a night where humans hunt monsters, led by like Von Hellscream, which makes no sense because of the earlier movies, but I don't know. I don't know. And it's also Frankie's first Halloween, so like she kind of like questions it and doesn't really understand. Also, I just want to say how from here on out and earlier they refer to normal humans as normies. So yeah. Anyways, normies egg and toilet paper to school. Then the principal announces how like none of them should do anything about it because they don't want to bring up old feuds with humans, which I'm going to say right now is a giant plot hole because they established earlier how like the whole human monsters relations, but then they fear Halloween because humans will attack monsters. But then right after, it shows how humans know about Monster High and how monsters are real, but they don't want to they don't want to bring up the old feud. By that, shouldn't definition be like fine at this point, and not something like monsters should fear? Because if the humans did it, would have because the humans like did this, so wouldn't they start up the old feud again? Like, I don't know. Later, Frankie, Abby, Spectral like discuss Halloween, and then they find like a map that tells of like a secret room all about Halloween in the catacombs. Everything is in the catacombs. Operetta, who just shows up like always. They find the Halloween room where it's like revealed that yes, Halloween was supposed to be meant for celebrating monsters. They don't ever explain how it changed, but yeah. And then as they go back to the surface, some weird elaborate like pumpkin trap then happens to like attack the monsters again. Wouldn't this be a big plot hole? I don't know. And then Frankie tells how they should like go back to the original Halloween, but due to miscommunication, everyone takes it as literally take back Halloween. We then get Cleo talking to her father, and her father wants her to be a leader, and he hates Deuce. Also, they make fun of Jackson, this guy. He's a kid who can like change into a monster when listening to music. So he gets bullied a lot, and gets some base lines here and there. They go to like the human school to both prevent like some of the monsters from like wreaking havoc and like egging it, but then they realize it's already been sabotaged. And then the police show up, so they have to run. After a bit, they all like meet up again, and then just run into like this like Halloween party. So they go into like pretend they're not actually monsters, where they then meet Claire and Chad. Also, I like how she's like, I don't celebrate Halloween, I'm just here because like he wants me to, as she's literally dressed like a fucking goth girl. Also busted down Chad. Then meet Lilith Van Hellscream, the great granddaughter of Van Hellscream. Hopefully no one tells her what happened to her great grandfather. Heath then eats something spicy, revealing themselves as monsters. And at the same time, Holt, the other personality of Jackson, gets arrested. Like we see him getting arrested as everyone just runs away. And again, people acknowledge here that monsters exist. So it's like, yeah. Also, when Holt goes to jail, they take away his headphones, which then reverts him into like his human form. So police officers who didn't see him like transform just takes him to school, like the human school, because they thought he was just a regular guy. So there's like the side plot of Cleo's father. Like I mentioned earlier, how like he wants like Cleo to break up with Deuce, and she does, which is kind of a dick move. And then meets like Claire and Dad when he gets bullied by like the two guys from earlier. There's another side plot of Dracula trying to help Claudine with a date. Jackson's at school. Lilith finds out he's a monster because music starts to change him, which, gotta admit, this is actually pretty cool like animation. He'll try to like rescue Holt, but he gets like arrested again, and it's revealed that the police are gonna be using a machine called the Trick or Treatment on Holt, which is basically just gonna like decapitate him and just crush his body into pieces, which is like, what? After of it, they then like find out the truth, how Lilith was the one who like set up Holt by spray painting the school, because she just wants things to go back where it used to be, which is pretty fucked up. And Cleo gets called out because she's was telling everyone how she's been getting text messages from Holt, which was a lie because she just sent messages to herself and pretended it was Holt, so she can basically just get attention. The ghouls end up like forcing Cleo and Lilith to go to the police and telling the truth that it was their plan and they didn't mean it by accident, which in turn gets the best response, that the police guy doesn't care, and they're gonna go serve justice by killing Holt in front of the entire town. So they all team up to save Holt and like bring everyone to the catacombs, to that like Halloween place, where they then tell everyone how like Halloween is supposed to be enjoyed by everyone, not to be like a event to like hunt monsters. So in the end, everyone like gets a happy like, yay, we did it, like everything's good. The humans and monsters made up for this. The Halloween is back. Don't know if it's like everywhere Halloween is bad or just the town near the school is bad. Claudine gets a date with a vampire guy that was established earlier with a double date. Yeah. And Holt gets a kiss by Claire, and yeah, the movie ends with everyone dancing the night away. Again. The end. This one was pretty fine. Some things didn't make sense, like characters with like Lilith and like how the whole like, you know, humans relationship goes. There was some pretty funny parts, and yeah, I would say this one was a pretty decent one. So the movie begins like with this like roller derby thing. I think that's what it's called. Basically, we have these two schools, the Gargoyles and like Monster High, and they're like competing in the catacombs. And the whole thing is the person who like crosses the finish line of like either team wins. And what do they win? The school's crest. And it turns out the crest is like has a soul, because it's described as the soul of the school. And without it, the school starts to crumble for some reason. Then by all definition, shouldn't like all the schools be like really dangerous? Because it's like, if one school's crest is gone, goodbye that school. And yeah, it begins with like the Monster High team losing to the Gargoyles. So they're trying to figure out like how to like get new members to help them, because all the members got injured during like the previously mentioned like roller thing. At the same time, Ghoulia investigates like weird scattered parts all around. And during the tryouts, Laguna gets mocked because she tries to teach guys how to do something. the main cast are like decides that they are gonna do something because everyone's sexist all of a sudden, except Jackson, I think. Really weird how everyone is. Yeah. So cut to montage of them practicing, and their first time they try, they immediately get disqualified because they accidentally started too early by one of them falling over. Operetta tries to like teach them after like seeing them fail, but then they start to argue. So Claude, who like didn't want Dracula to play for some reason. Also, Claude, I thought you were better than this. Okay, I'm sorry. Please have better writing in the next films. He decides to help teach him, and Giulio starts finding like more and more pieces, where it's then revealed that in the giant clock tower is a secret room which reveals a robotic girl called Rebecca. And wait a second. This movie takes after the last one. And oh yeah, a bit earlier, it's revealed that one of the gargoyles is a girl, and they all hate her because she's a girl in like a boys' sport. These two characters show up before this one, and yet everyone's acting like they just met. Huh? So anyways, Rebecca tells them how they should like fight like girls and not like fight like boys, which was what they were doing earlier. So they start actually doing it, and they actually start winning. Toryline doesn't like this because she's one of those people who are like, I'm on the winning side. Claude and Operetta notice this and gives Toryline false information about their team. So they get to the final match, and they then use like the fake information to their advantage. But midway through the game, Claudine gets injured, so they have to put Draculaura in. And she's like, I don't know how to, I'm gonna fail. In the end, she takes a page out of Cars' book and uses her leg to reach the finish line, which results in Monster High winning and getting the crest back, and the Gargoyles crest. But then they finally acknowledge how like taking each other's crest is just gonna cause the other school to fall apart. So in the end, they change the rules where no more schools are destroyed and everyone gets to play. And Rebecca's team is fully restored after realizing that the trophy had like a piece of her. With that, I'll say this one was actually pretty good. This was the whole like girls can't do this, it's only guys, but then girls prove that girls can do it, which was decent, good. It's a good message, pretty fun. Was weird how like some characters acted like out of character, but yeah, I'll say this one was actually pretty good. So the movie starts with this one lady complaining how she has like no ideas for outfits. Monatella Ghostier, that's her name. Anyways, so apparently if she like has no ideas, she'll literally just disappear. So anyway, we cut to our main cast like showing out their outfits, because Claudine wants to be like this fashion designer, and at the same time, the Ghostier is trying to find like some new like people to help her with her fashion ideas, and she ends up seeing the video, which then leads into how she contacts the school and wants Claudine to come to like scare us. At the same time, Rochelle, the gargoyle girl from the last one, it talks about how she misses someone who is close to her boyfriend Garrett, because he stopped sending her letters after she moved. Claudine convinces Bloodgood to take all of her friends with her there, so she ends up going. And Frankie decides to help Roselle with finding what happened to Garrett. So it becomes this competition for Claudine as she meets this skeleton girl and this dragon girl. So the plot is kind of divided, where it's like we have Claudine focusing on trying to learn how to improve and follow how like the madam wants her dresses, and the rest of the ghouls just hanging around scare us, seeing the sights. Also, Toraline is here because she has to. She just snuck on. And then Frankie and Roselle trying to find what happened to Garrett. And Gulia trying to get money for her scooter that broke. After a while, they then catch on to how there's like these flowers coming out of the sewer that Garrett made for Roselle. So Frankie and Roselle decided to go through the sewers. At the same time, it's the skeleton and dragon girl like realizes how like Frankie's not being true to herself and only like doing what like the madam wants of her. And then another side plot is how Claude, Deuce, and then Heath, for some reason, they're all going to scare us because like Claude is depressed and lonely, and Deuce is also depressed and lonely. It is then revealed how Garrett was the madam's previous designer, because they explained like earlier how like he got offered like a good role, and it's revealed how he was her designer, but because he eventually got burnt out, she decides to lock him away, and that's what she is planning to do to Claudine when she's trying to like become her new apprentice. Deuce and Claude makes their way to like Scaris. They then like follow the scent, which then leads them to Roselle, Frankie, and Claudine, because she got captured, and the guys help break them out. After recruiting everyone together, they know how they have to like stop the madam from like stealing all the ideas. So they all come together to crash the fashion show and take down the madam. Dean then shows off her own dresses, and everyone starts to love them. And because of it, the madam just fucking dies, I guess, because I guess if you're forgotten, like, because she's like a weird ghost, I don't know what kind of ghost she is, but because she got forgotten, she just dies. And in the end, Claudine is praised. Dragon Girl and Skeleton Girl then becomes friends with her, because they join her to like help her like with the fashion show. So yeah, that's how the movie ends. I'm just kidding. There's still like 30 minutes left for some reason, because it now is like an adventure, because it's like because of Claudine's ideas and how her creativity, pure imagination brought the book, her like drawing book, to life. Because the sketchbook is alive, they now have to go on a global adventure to get the book back. Why? But I don't know. They go all sorts of places. The Arctic, Skull Shores return, Germany, and apparently Transylvania is still racist against monsters. In the end, they then return to the school in time, because there was like Group A and Group B. Yeah, that was Scaris. It was fine. This one was kind of felt like a drag to me, to be honest. There was some decent parts, but mainly it was not my cup of tea. The fact that there was like a second story was weird, because it just comes out of nowhere. But yeah, that's how the movie ends. The message of this movie is pure imagination. Now we arrive to 13 Wishes. And before this one starts, I just want to say that going by the release dates, this would have been the last one she would have watched right before she died. So how does 13 Wishes go? Let's find out, shall we? So the movie begins in the past as we learn about the story of this genie called Gigi and her evil twin shadow sister Wisp, who basically just acts like a djinn. Basically, this djinn girl wants all the power, and she's making this girl here wish for her to go become all powerful. But Gigi stops her and tells her to wish it all to go away. We then cut to the main title sequence that later movies will also have, because the previous movies just had like a character introduction. But yeah, personally, I love this version of the theme song. I even used it earlier in the video. But yeah, theme song goes hard, and cool sequence how we see how like the lamp makes it all the way to Mos High. I actually really like that idea. So anyways, we're now in year 2 because like everyone's talking about going back to school. Anyways, Halloween has got an updated look, and we also meet her friend Twyla. And the whole thing of this opening is how it's supposed to like hint towards everyone who like wishes for something. How some people are satisfied with what they have, some people wish for more, and yeah, it's an interesting mix of things. Anyways, Halloween wants to be popular and tries to like make this a light show thing happen, but everything goes wrong, and the main ghouls who try to stop her are then sent to go clean the attic. While cleaning the attic, Howleen finds the lamp, and we then are introduced to Gigi properly this time, who tells her how there's like 13 wishes. Howleen does start to try to like help everyone at the moment, like helping for what some people want as their wishes. Like earlier, we have Gil and Laguna talking about like a family fish racism, and Howleen sees to try to help this, so she wishes for like Gil's parents to like accept her, which results in Laguna changing her race.
What?
That happens. Other stuff goes awry when she helps her brother and his friends trying to be on like a game show, which they immediately like regret. We have Abby trying to like go for student council and like not getting members. So yeah, like who knows? Maybe she needs a little blue-haired boy to help her. Anyways, Wisp starts to like manipulate her and turn her evil. Claudine tries to like to talk to Howleen, which Wisp tells her to wish it all away, and she wishes Claudine to like non-exist. Eventually, the other ghouls catch on and try to find a way to stop her. So they then also get like teleported inside the lamp. It's then revealed how like Gigi wanted like a sister because she felt lonely. So one wished her a sister. Take a shot every time I say wish. Don't please, don't do that. And how after a while, Wisp becomes like angry because how she can't do anything. So there's a mirror that they have to find because it stops Wisps from manipulating and stuff. But yeah, well, more stuff starts to happen where it's like, be careful what you wish for. As things go wrong, Pauline starts to like take over the school, even threatening this one girl she wants to use as a lie detector, or else she's gonna I don't know, kill her boyfriend, who's let's just acknowledge her boyfriend is called Invisibility. At this point, she just starts a cult, which is yeah, that happens, and Twyla realizes what's going on, tries to help. They get all the pieces and like break free from like the lamp, and make it just in time to like stop her. And has Wisp being depressed because all Wisp wanted to do was be like Gigi, be like a genie and grant wishes. And so Howleen wishes for all the wishes to go back to normal, like undo all the wishes, and wish that Wisp can be a genie instead of Gigi, because Gigi wants to have friends. This turns Wisp into a natural genie, what makes her happy, because she can actually like grant wishes for people. And Gigi is happy because she no longer has to grant wishes and can just be a regular person. It then has this bittersweet fucked up note where the lamp is gonna go somewhere, but then gets immediately knocked into like the pool, where it literally states that the pool is deep and no one knows how far it goes down. Think Mariana's Trench, and the lamp will be lost for like ever. Maybe one day it'll be found again, which is fucked up for her, I guess. Gets her wish granted, immediately regrets her wish, I guess. Anyways, film wraps up with another dance party. These movies love dance parties, and Cathy Noir, that's her name, singing and dancing, and everyone has a happy ever after, because they're happy with what they have at the moment. I'll say this one is actually pretty good. It was pretty fun. Pretty good message about like be careful what you wish for, and like never be like I want, and be grateful for what you have. Personally, I think my sister would have loved this one. Even though my sister passed away, I did end up trying to like catch up with the series and like be there, like watching them just for her. But eventually, I would just like again, like just lose interest and just like forget about it all in general. The only ones I actually kind of remember are Escape from Skull Shore, 13 Wishes, Freaky Fusion, and Haunted. So let's see how this one goes. So the movie begins with like the main cast like watching a movie, and Dracula is like the only one who's like complaining about the movie, being like, no, this is all wrong. I don't like it. It's not accurate. And according to like Gory, Dracula doesn't even have her powers. So anyways, at the meantime, we then meet our main antagonist, Stoker, and how he's like overwhelmed because like other vampires are like, well, have you found the queen yet? We need to find the vampire queen. If we don't, we need you will no longer be in charge, because you're supposed to be in charge at the moment, and at the same time of being in charge, find her. So Stoker's like, I need to find someone to be my I need to find someone I can throw under the bus and be a fake vampire queen, so I can still be in charge. And he ends up picking Dracula. So Dracula is now like quote unquote the vampire queen now, after he uses like a fake replica of a heart that was supposed to shine to like the real vampire queen. So he uses like a fake one to like be like, oh look, Dracula is the queen now. You're coming with me, and you're gonna be my pawn. And she convinces him to bring like her friends, and they end up going to Transylvania, and she has to say goodbye to Claude, which she's like really depressed. Yeah, at least it shows how much they love each other, because this man is like having like a mental like breakdown because he's not gonna see his girlfriend for a while. Anyways, once there, they get to like explore like the whole like mansion, castle place, and as exploring, they then find out that Draculaura is not the real queen and that she's only being used. So they devise a plan to actually try to find the real queen and like distract Stoker. Oh yeah, we're also introduced to this new dude called Voodoo. He's like a voodoo doll. Anyways, he's pretty nice. So they escape and are now on like an adventure to find like the real queen, because find out how an old friend of Draculaura's, Elizabeth, was the real queen. How she has placed letters for Draculaura's father and Secret's other person. They are then out to try to find all like the notes, find Elizabeth's real location. They then meet Claudine's like older sister, in order like to help them find like the real like queen. On this journey, they then meet like allies such as, and also a side plot is that there's a whole ongoing joke about Twilight. And at the same time, they're like exploring, trying to find all these clues. It's then revealed how like Stoker's underling, Igor, is like chasing after them, but always gets like the short end of the stick, which I kind of find funny how it's like Stoker's the main villain and yet Igor is doing literally most of the work. So anyways, after like more clues, they then reach like Hollywood, and as they're in Hollywood, they then run into there's like this one movie director lady who's like having complications trying to figure out how to do werewolf stuff in her script, and so Claudine's older sister helps her, which makes her get hired. And then like the Honey Swamp girl helps with like filming underwater with like another movie director, and she also gets hired. And then Voodoo gets hired as like a janitor. So it was pretty nice seeing how all of them get like make it big in one way or another. They then run into like Veronica, who they assume like knows a little Beth. And in the end, she's like, "Oh no, I don't know who this is. Sorry." So, anyways, they get cornered by Stoker, which is like which reveals how Veronica is actually Elizabeth, because she wanted to be like an actor, and because she's the real queen, the final battle literally is just talking, and Elizabeth telling her guards to kick Stoker out. So Draculaura and Elizabeth reunite, as she's happy that everyone is like helped encourage her and stuff. In the end, they found the real vampire queen. And one plot point is that it's revealed that the person who Elizabeth was sending letters to was Hexagaia's Steam, because she knew both Hexagaia and Draculaura's father. And it's revealed that throughout the movie, Rebecca keeps on feeling this weird like pulse within her, and it's revealed that the pulse was the dragon. The pulse was the vampire's heart, which was said to gone missing. And with the vampire heart within her, that's what helped them find Elizabeth. So the movie ends with the premiere of Elizabeth's like new movie. There's a joke about Stoker still getting kicked out of the movie premiere, but they let Igor in because he always wanted to watch a movie, which was kind of nice. Dude finally gets the girl, I'm assuming, which is pretty funny because because throughout the movie he's just simping. Oh yeah, and Draculaura gets her vampire powers for like helping find the real queen. And as they are gonna watch their movie, Draculaura has her boyfriend Claude coming for her. So in the end, they watch the movie and have a good old time. Yeah, I would say this one was pretty actually funny. Actually had good laughs throughout this one. Even though I like talked about this one really fast, I would say this one wasn't that bad. Had pretty good, interesting world building, which shows like a lot of like other places that's also like monster themed. And yeah, I say I like this one, and if I'm right, maybe my sister would have also liked this one. So the movie begins with like narration from Frankie about like something that happens later in the film. Well, let's like actually like start where like the movie actually starts. So anyways, it's the 200th anniversary of the opening of Monster High, 1814 to 2014, and we meet like the drama teacher who is like the Invisible Man, who is not sleeping in your bed. Anyways, he's cool. Oh yeah, and we meet like hybrid monsters, like mixed race basically. Also, they're doing like a presentation about like heritage in order like to help where it's like everyone gets along, everyone is accepted. And I say we get the pretty funny joke about like Cleo telling her heritage, and it's just being carvings of stone, which I think is pretty funny. And we get Rebecca Steam talking about like how she never met her father, and all she has left is like a clock of him. Anyways, Abby brings her fucking cousin, and then we get to Frankie, who's like doesn't know anything about her heritage, only knowing she was built, and her grandfather is Victor Frankenstein, who probably went to Monster High, she says. No, I do like how they actually know their monster lore, and that Frankenstein is the creator, not the monster. When talking with her friends, Rebecca brings up how her father maybe knew him, so they try to find like Hexagaia's lab. As they go through like the Chamber of Secrets, they find like the door, and it turns out the clock is actually like a key that like only opens the door at a certain time. Anyways, they explore the lab, and Toraline shows up because she always has to be here. And anyways, she immediately like opens the time vortex, and then they get sucked into the past where they actually witness the construction of the school, which is pretty cool. Anyways, Doc Brown explains time travel, and they try to find Toraline, who's like running around causing like chaos, because that's what she does. As she causes like stuff, we then see Hexagaia's Steam teaching a lesson about like heritage, which we then meet Sparky, who is a human at like a monster school. They do explain it where it's like two Claude recolors talk about like a human exchange program, and I guess the program never went anywhere because Jackson is like the only human, I think, kinda. Anyways, Sparky is like, I want a family because I'm an orphan. So I made these two like bot dolls, doll bots, and I gave them real organs. And I'm serious, he actually says they have like real organs in them. Anyways, Hexagaia is like, no, you're doing it wrong. If you want life, it has to be something pure, something that everyone has. You can't see it, but it's like that spark within you. Anyways, Frankie talks to like Sparky to try to cheer him up on his dream, and in the end, she actually talks about how like her grandfather knew the answer and how he found out, which causes like Sparky to freak out, being like, "Oh, tell me, I want to know, how did he do it?" Which he then just leaves. When they're about to go back, Sparky like follows them behind, accidentally causing like a giant mess. which then causes a bunch of them like to fuse together. So by the time they get back to the future, they're like some of them are fused, but not all of them. And Gulia is like, I'll fix it. So in the meantime, they try to do the rehearsal as their like fused bodies, but everything goes wrong. So the Fusors decides to help them after like feeling bad. So you get like a montage of like the hybrid monsters teaching the fused monsters how to like understand like how to take control. While at the same time, it's revealed with Gulia how like pieces of the machine have gone missing because like Sparky does land in the future and discovers what a phone is. He plans on making like a new like monster. So anyways, Frankie and this zombie unicorn, Nathan Drake, talk to each other, and they then when the main group it is then revealed how Sparky is gonna use this monster to try to have a family, but accidentally getting scared by like a phone flash causes the monster to attack. And I'm gonna say it, I actually like this idea of like a robot monster made out of like modern technology. I think that's cool. Anyways, Mecha Monster attacks, and for some reason, everyone uses flash on their phone, and the monster tries to like absorb people because it's trying to find a missing part of itself. In the end, Frankie like sacrifices herself and using like electric powers all of a sudden she has to like destroy the monster. In turn, it ends up killing her because it used up all her electric juice. And as she dies, it's revealed that Sparky was Victor Frankenstein, and that Sparky was just his nickname. Everyone's sad when all of a sudden, Hexagaia's Steam just walks through the portal because he can, and he reveals how everyone has like a spark within them. So I guess Primus exists, and I'm not joking because all of a sudden like everyone just starts like doing like balls of energy until all are one. Am I right? So anyways, they literally just steal the scene from Half-Blood Prince where everyone just uses their phones they like hold upwards as like balls of life form because like everyone's thinking of like how Frankie helped all of them. This then revives Frankie and everyone's happy. Hexagaia and Victor go back to the past, and Victor finally realizes the truth and how like positivity can like help create his dreams come to life. And it's revealed how Frankie's parents actually hid all the photos from Frankie just for this moment because time travel stuff. And Gulia gets a new lab. I would say this one was actually pretty decent. Not bad. It actually had a pretty interesting story and premise. I would say that this one is pretty rewatchable. And yeah, I think this one was pretty good. If I remember correctly, this was the movie that like I dropped off from. And it's about ghosts, which is really nice. Ice. Ice, baby. So the movie like begins with like a swimming tournament, and Spectra's having like a mental breakdown because she's trying to find like a new story to gospel about, in which she listens to Toryline talk about like werefleas, which causes everyone like to freak out. Claudine confronts Spectra about this and tells her how it's bad to spread like false gossip around and how it can hurt others. While at the same time, Dracula is all of a sudden just getting haunted by something. When the ghouls confront like Spectra and ask her about like if she knows what's going on, Spectra then like freaks out and just goes to the attic and just enter like a mysterious like portal. They follow her into like the ghost world, where they meet like River Styx, and she takes them to Haunted High, and at the same time, they meet like a ghost pirate girl, Vandala. River Styx gives them like ghost cloaks, so they like blend in and look like ghosts for like a tiny bit of time. As they wander to school, they then like run into like this painter guy called Porter, and how there's like these like hall monitor ghosts representing the past, present, and future, and how everyone is just wearing chains for some reason. They find out that like if you break the rules, you get chains as punishment, and you can't leave like the high school. The head principal, Miss Revenant. I think I have to go consult with the Elder Gods for this one. She sees how like Spectra is new there, and so immediately just forces her to stay at the school with against her will. Is that even allowed? I'm pretty sure not. And the other ghouls get found out, so they make a run for it. They then ask Twyla for help to try to find a way to like turn themselves into ghosts, so they can like go save Spectra. Well, there's a side plot where Spectra and Porter tries to find out what's really going on. So Twyla takes them to her house because she's like the daughter of the boogeyman, and they use like this boogeyman sand to turn them into ghosts. Once they get back to the school, they then start like a plan to find Spectra and like learn how to be a ghost. During their investigation, Spectra and Porter find out how the principal has no information on her, like she doesn't even exist. After all regrouping, they devise a plan to like find out more, while Revelant wonders how to get more people into the ghost world. At one point, Porter gets captured and is forced to tell Principal where the others are hiding, but he tricks her into letting him keep the key that will like change the chains, and like so he can like take all their chains. The principal, wanting to find out more how like to turn like normal people into like ghosts, then sends her like 3 like hall monitors to the human world to like take the boogie sand. Once Spectra like confronts Miss Revenant and reveals how she's actually the Red Lady, an old ghost who used to haunt people, but was like captured and chained up. She comes to the realization because of like the dates and how like Miss Revenant has a bunch of chains on her. Ghouls stop like the hall monitors from like turning people into like ghosts by tricking them into like going back into the ghost world. And it's revealed how even though she can get rid of all her chains, she'll still be stuck because part of her still believes that she deserves to be punished. So in the end, she decides to actually be a good principal and frees everyone from their chains. So the movie ends with everyone celebrating in the human world. I'd say this one was pretty decent. Interesting story and like a interesting premise for it's like a mystery that you actually like slowly find out more and more of. The characters were interesting and fun. And yeah, don't really have much to say except busting makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. So the movie begins out at sea, where young Willy Wonka sets his eyes upon the land. As we get our opening number. Oh, wait, wrong movie.
Okay, got the good one.
So the movie opens with like Caddy Noir. It's like the popular idol at school, and it's like she has writer's block. she doesn't know what to like write about, and then we cut to a musical number. Meanwhile, this movie has something about like Cleo's father talking about like a star in which like the star will give like infinite power or something. So anyway, because of that, he's going to be New York and needs his both of his daughters to go, and Cleo convinces like him to like bring her friends. At New York, they meet this like moth girl who wants to be a singer, and also Toraline shows up because like plot. And then we meet this like robot girl who's like a DJ, and then we meet like this mouse rat girl who's like daughter of the Rat King. She knows her place around. At the same time, Gulia in her like new lab finds out that there's like the comet is coming to Earth, and if they don't stop it, it'll like blow up the entire Earth. So yeah. Anyways, we meet this ruler person who's like in charge of New York, and her son Seth. And we get backstory how apparently a long time ago a comet broke up, like a piece of it broke off and landed in the desert. And if the power gets like reconnected, again, infinite power and something. And Cleo's father wants to marry like Cleo to like Seth, so he could get all that power because royalty. And in order to do that, they have to get rid of Deuce. So they set up Deuce to get like made fun of and to act like a dumbass, and it works. And Deuce just feels terrible about himself, thinking that he's no good for Cleo because of how he ruins stuff. At the same time, Gulia finds out that there's like sound waves coming out of the comet, and it has effects on technology. Anyways, as the rest of the ghouls are like exploring New York, they come across this like pharaoh guy who's like a rapper, I don't know. And Cathy Noir forms a bond with him. We then cut to another musical number, and then random characters start coming into the plot for plot reasons to reveal more about the comet being a spaceship. So in the end, where sister Nathara manipulates her and manipulates Deuce, it then ends with them having to like break up. At the Gallery Gourmet, it is announced how they will be marrying each other, but Pharaoh finally stands up to himself because like his mother tells him what to do and he has to like do it. So Pharaoh like is like, no, I don't like this. So I'm actually Seth, that famous rapper, and I love singing. But Toraline steals both his and Cathy Noir's voice because like it's like they share the love for music, and because of that they both go depressed mode and they have to like continue their lives, and he has to get married and stuff. Anyways, the singing battle, they have to get like their voices back from like the asteroid shard piece, because Nathara gave it to Toraline, and Toraline's like, hey, I can sing now, and so I'm gonna go do Broadway. And that's when the moth girl helps them out and beats her, and they return their voices. In the end, like everyone reunites, and Deuce being like, I love Cleo no matter what, even if bad, like I don't think I'm good for her. If she loves me, then that's good. So as they learn, they find out that the comet is emitting music, so they then play like a similar tune, and it stops it just in time for like the spaceship asteroid comet thing to stop. It's revealed it's like a literal alien is in it, and it's like that pulse sound wave was a distress beacon, and you saved me. Everyone is happy. Seth's mother is like, I accept you now because you showed your true self. Julia is appraised because she saved the world, and the movie ends with everyone having a party. I would say New York musical journey is actually my favorite. Like I actually kind of like musicals, and I say this one was actually really fun. I actually really liked. I actually liked a lot of the songs in here. It has an interesting story, and yeah. And with that being said, we only have one movie left. And this is the last of the original classic era. And I gotta say, this one is dull. Anyways, so this one's gonna be a really quick one. So let's go. So the school year's coming to the end, and they're setting up like a dance. And our main ghouls are like getting these dance lessons from Tourline, who's like a terrible dancer. At the same time, like Laguna is like wants to dance, but like she gets stage fright. Tourline discovers this and like embarrasses her, which causes Laguna to become a meme. Not even joking, in universe. Laguna, being like a party planner for like the event, decides to like uninvite Tourline. So by the time Tourline gets to the party, they have a fight, which then causes the pool to like turn into a vortex and suck them both in. Some of the other cast members go after her to try like to save them, but they also get sucked in. And it's revealed that Posia, the daughter of Poseidon, sucked them into the portal because she wants to like help her find like something deep inside her. I don't know. This one's really forgettable. So they travel to like the Great Scarier Reef, Laguna's home, and oh yeah, once they got in, they got turned into like sea animal like hybrids. Even though it doesn't make sense for like Laguna and Gil because they're already like sea people. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So they get there and it's like they run into like Kala, Laguna's old friend, and Kala is just like, oh, I hate you. You have a family, I don't. You get love and support because your family's normal, I don't. And the idea is that it's like maybe like the thing like the Poseidon girl told her is that maybe if she like gets over her stage fright, she can like go back home. Oh yeah, they also go to like an underground like area because like a lackey for like Kala tells them if they look into the eyes of a kraken, they'll have enough confidence to like break their fears. So they go do that. Even having like a fourth wall break joke. Anyways, during the performance, she freezes up and everyone boos her. But then Gil finally becomes useful and is like, hey, she's a great dancer. All you guys are dicks. We're heading home. And don't judge people because yeah. So everything goes good. Kala is mad because everyone starts cheering for like Laguna after like Gil's speech, and then so Kala just summons the Kraken. The group like rushes back to like the Poseidon girl, which she like is forcibly has to open a portal back to Monster High. The main group gets back and they're like, yay, we're back. Hopefully that's all over. And then the Kraken comes through the portal. We have a standoff where it's like everyone tries to figure out what to do because of the Kraken and like team up to stop it, which Laguna then realizes that she has to confront Kala. She does and make up, like becoming friends again. And it's revealed that the Kraken, this was her father. In the end, they become friends again, and there's one last dance party, which ends the original run of the Monster High movies. What are my thoughts? This one was pretty boring, and really predictable. I don't really have anything else to say because, yeah, wouldn't want to watch this one again. For what it was pretty good. I enjoyed some more than the others. And yes, it does show its age. Heck, even if it's old, it can still be good. To be completely honest, for the animation, for the 3D movies, were actually really good. They didn't have to go hard with some of the animation and lighting composition, but they did, and it actually looks really good. And hey, it actually had some really good jokes here and there, and some background gags. Looking at the dolls themselves, they were pretty nice. These would catch young kids' eyes, and you can tell the passion. For what it's worth, it was a good era. We all know that this is where the classic era ends, and a new one would begin right afterwards. From now on, it can either go up or down. Let's In 2016, the series would have entered its second generation. That only lasted for a couple of years. Yeah, not a lot of time. The dolls released from this line weren't as good and looked worse than the worst from the last line, from what I've heard. Does that even make sense? I don't know, I'm keeping it in. Basically, a complaint I've heard is that they felt more like bootlegs. This era was the Reboot series. And because of that, let's take a peek into this new era's movies. Don't worry, it's gonna go by really fast. So because this movie is a reboot, we start off with like Dracula and her father. And basically he's telling her to be wary of the human world as he teaches her how to fly. Also, this Dracula design, nice. She gets distracted by looking at like a billboard of like a famous idol she like loves, and then they head back. But on their way back, Dracula is like sad because it's like she wants to interact with the human world, but she can't. And she gets spotted by someone at like an electric factory. When they get home and she like vlogs about it to the monster like Twitter, they then get a knock at the door revealing that Frankie saw her, and she's like, "Oh, another monster! This is awesome." Dracula's like, "Okay, you can stay," and Frankie and Dracula talk about like how it is, like how it would be to live a normal life, and to have a place where like all monsters can come together and not like be afraid. And they come up with Monster High. So like the next day, they then like go out to try to find more monsters, and eventually they meet like a horde of pups and Claudine. And then in the morning, Dracula's like, "Who the hell is this third person?" And then after he gets turned on by her, but then after realizing how hot, but then he meets Claudine's mother and her children, and he's like, "Okay, you guys can stay." And with their help, they all plan on building Monster High. And Claudine and Frankie like helps Dracula by like connecting them to like the real monster like internet, so they can like get their message about the school worldwide for monsters. Dracula's like, if you're gonna have this be like a high school, you need students, and so here's like an old like monster map that you can like use to find people. And then it starts going off good. They find Cleo in like this desert, and then find Laguna using the map, and we see how more and more monsters are coming to the school, and everyone like teaching and everyone like getting along. They then have plans for a school dance and thinking, wouldn't it be cool to have like the famous idol come to our school? That would be so cool. Anyways, as they look on the map, they're like, "Oh, there's another person we can try to go find." So they teleport to the graveyard where they meet Monica, and she's evil and she has like a zomboid army to like take over the world. Uh, oh yeah, in this continuity, the ghouls have superpowers and they easily defeat the zomboids, and yeah, they're like, okay, let's teleport back. Grab the port key. So everything goes good. Everyone has plans, and then Monica just shows up to the school, being like, we're going here now." And they get accepted to go there, I guess now, because they're like, we're gonna. Monica is like starting to like manipulate people to be like, vote me for student council president because fuck the humans. Monsters are cool. In the end, like Draculaura wins. Then Monica like tries to be like, humans hate us. If you believe humans love us, get that idol to come here and perform. Draculaura tries to like talk to the idol, but it's like, oh no, monster. But not in the way you think. So anyways, at the dance, everyone's having fun, and then Monica's like, oh yeah, I went to go kidnap her, and yeah, she hates monsters, so I'm gonna kill her, and then I'm gonna kill all of you. So everyone's like, we're gonna fight you, so it's time to fight now. So everyone fights, and it turns out that the idol was actually a ghost girl, and the whole time, because Monica's like, I'm gonna jump and like kill you. Oh no, I just went through you. In the end, Monica and her army is defeated. They leave, and the day is won. In the end, Draculaura teaches her how to like be yourself, be good, and Tash is like, I'm gonna be like a monster ambassador now. So in the end, everything goes back to normal. They have their school. Everyone's happy. The end. This one was pretty alright. The animation is actually really nice and pretty smooth in some places. The reboot did change like a lot to the lore, and you can tell they had a budget for this one for like limited amount of characters they have. But yeah, I think it was interesting. Some shots were pretty good, but yeah, I would say this is pretty decent. This one's pretty boring, so I'm just gonna skim through it with like basically the littlest stuff possible. Basically, this takes place right after the opening is like the ghoul saving this wolf girl. Also, this wolf girl is the only like technically the only new character. Everything else is reused from the first one. So, yeah. Anyways, during class, Frankie's like, I'm developing this super baddie, and then fucking Monica interrupts her because even though like she tried murdering Tash girl ghost and wanted to do genocide, they're like, yeah, you can still go to school here. That is, I don't know. Anyways, there's a mini plot that's literally doesn't do anything to the plot. It's just a rock band. Claudine sees how like something's going up, and she asks like Twilight to like be a spy. At the same time, they're like, Claudine, you have amazing art, and amazing art for fashion. That abandoned factory from the first movie, let's turn to like a salon to show off your amazing stuff. That's it. And underneath the salon is like a mini like evil secret layer, because Tash is planning to use the small battery to like absorb all light, so because humans are afraid of the dark. Also, fun fact, it's currently 12:03 at night as I record this. It's pitch black in my room, except my cats are like right next to me. Anyways, fashion show, they're doing stuff to get it done. Frankie is like, Frankie and Twyla talk. Frankie gets struck by fucking lightning and becomes Electro. And then on the grand reopening, everyone's like, oh, everything's going good. But Claudine's like, oh, wait, where's my best friend? Then people start to panic. Panic, where's the SWAT? And then it's revealed how, like, Monica finds out what they're doing, so she tricks Twyla and Frankie to coming back, where she's planning on using Frankie as a electric battery. And yeah, basically she uses the battery. Then she starts to attack, sends out her zomboids to attack the humans who came to the salon because everyone thinks, oh, it's a nice salon. These people are just like in like monster uniforms, because in this universe, no one knows monsters. Like no one, like there's no like peace like there is in the first movie. In the first, there's no peace. There's no peace like there was in like the first generation. Anyways, everyone's like, oh no, everything's going bad. What should we do? And then it's like, Frankie, are you okay? Are you gonna be okay? And then she births this like electric being. Oh yeah, the electric being that's shown on the cover doesn't show up until like I don't know, after 30 minutes. I don't know. I don't care. I don't really care about this one. This one's really boring, and like they had like this one was more of a cash grab because it promotes like the electric outfits that only appear during the ending. Even the characters from Rock Band get the electric outfits, only the girls, because anyways, to stop the zombie army, they send an army of like electric things to stop her. And
I just realized that I'm currently like writing this and like recording this while I'm still 17, and I'm deciding to spend my time dressed as Willy Wonka, watching and reviewing Monster High. Yeah.
anyways, electrified concept doesn't even happen till like the end of the movie. And yeah, this was just fine. They stop Monica. Everything goes back to normal at the end. The animation has improved a lot, I will give that credit, and it actually does look really nice and good. Along with some new character designs, still carrying over some aspects from G1, which is nice, but they still add some new stuff, and I would say I actually really like it, because it's like, it does a good job blending like modern and like the old aesthetic they were trying to go for. I think it does a really good job here. Again, like with the movies, you can tell like there was like certain budgetary things, especially in the sequel. Looking at like the dolls themselves, yeah, they don't really look that good. And because of like this, according to the fans, they changed the series for the worse, with like even this having like the lowest sales possible. By the time 2020 came, they stopped altogether with the series, and because of that, the franchise came to its end. That's right, we're back. In 2022, Monster High would announce its return, now entering its third generation. And this one's kind of the most kind of controversial from what it looks like. An entire new story again that changes both the characters and like setting. Instead of starting off as like an animated show or like pilot, this one actually started with like 2 live action movies to like introduce the characters and world itself. From what I've looked up, the live action films and the animated series take place in like separate continuities, so that's kind of confusing and weird, but hey, let's just go with it. I'm not going to be watching the animated series. I'm only going to be focusing on the live action films for like the time being. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So the movie begins like at like a skateboarding rink where we are introduced to like Claudine, and it's revealed that in this world as well, people kind of don't know monsters exist and are like scared of them. Like there is no coexistence. Anyway, Claudine like runs home where it's like revealed that she's been accepted into Monster High, but the only problem is that there's this weird like plot thing where it's like monsters don't accept like mixed race, like half human stuff, and Claudine is half human, which kind of makes no sense because like the movie makes like a whole big deal out of this, even though like werewolves are half human to begin with. You know, werewolves. Anyways, she has like a tiny argument with her father that lasts like a minute before her father's like, okay, I accept that you're gonna be going. So anyways, Claudine's father drive her to like a secret like forest with a portal that teleports her to Monster High, and she is finally there. Also, this movie is a musical.
Have you ever had chocolate like this?
Anyways, here's where we're like introduced to like Draculaura and Frankie, who are like also arriving, and like Cleo and Laguna, and Laguna makes this terrifying Melina-ass face. We see Miss Bloodgood and this guy, forgot his name. Anyways, Julia like tells Claudine where to go, where to find her room, and Claudine properly meets Frankie, who in this continuity is like non-binary. So because of that, I'm guessing she's Braille. I do get this kind of makes sense because like if you think of Frankenstein's monster, it's made of a bunch of like pieces, like human pieces. Which, speaking of human, wouldn't like zombies and like Frankie also count as like half human? Because like, you know, zombies are the undead, and Frankie is like made of a bunch of people. So like, wouldn't they also count as like half human something? Anyways, Draculaura is like not interested at all because she's secretly hiding that she's trying to learn witchcraft, and apparently witchcraft is like looked down upon because it's a human thing. Anyways, throughout the movie, Claudine is having like this whole trouble because she doesn't want anyone to find out that she's half human, and she's going through some problems with that. Basically, the whole story is that she's gonna learn how to accept it. And there's a side plot where the Chamber of Secrets has been opened to like saying to expel the enemy. She talks to like Deuce, who in this world broke up with Cleo, because it implies that Cleo was like abusive to Deuce, and Claudine and Deuce form a little bond. Claudine would eventually like find out that there used to be like a half human person in the school, but he was like rejected by everyone in the school and eventually killed by humans. That's totally nice. It turns out that guy who died, called like Hyde, was trying to find a secret to like make him like become full monster and like reject his human side. So Claudine tries to find it and finds like this mausoleum with the help of Frankie after Frankie accidentally finds out. And with Frankie, they discover Draculaura is like trying to be a witch. So eventually, all three of them just become best friends. Anyways, they try to find out like how to get into this mausoleum because it has like a human hand print on it, which I'm just gonna say I kind of find dumb and stupid because it's like it's obvious that it's just a handprint, and yet none of them look at their hands to be like, oh, why doesn't this work? I'll come back to like that later. Anyways, they decide to like make like a explosive potion to like break open the tomb, but it doesn't work, and Cleo finds out and calls out Claudine, which makes Claudine really sad, and she decides to leave the school. After that, within the matter of 1 second, her friends immediately find her and comfort her, and they immediately find out that the handprint is actually a handprint, because one weird thing is that due to Claudine's emotions, if she gets like too like emotional,
she turns human. Okay, and because of that, Claudine never thought about actually checking her hand. So yeah, a lot could have been like a lot of the movie could have been just skipped if she just realized, oh, a handprint. Once they get in, Claudine's like, I have the potion, I can take it and become like fully monster, but then she's like, wait a second, but my dad is important to me. So she's like, no, I'm not gonna take the potion. And then the teacher guide, who was like, there for like a couple scenes and like acted weird, it reveals that he is the son of like that monster who got killed, and he's like, don't take the potion, it's bad. And she's like, okay, I won't. And then he takes the potion and he becomes like an ultimate monster because he wants revenge on like the people who hurt him with it, which is like, yeah, monsters are assholes. Anyways, they escape him becoming like big monster, and then for some reason, I don't know why, but the side characters who literally have like one scene who are not important to the plot comes to the final battle and just like stand around like shooting their like power and being like, yeah, we're here to help even though we literally have no plot relevance, which is like really hilarious to me because it's like they're just here now. Like some of them literally don't really say anything and yet they're here. Anyways, Deuce gets like frozen because apparently the guy like he can copy abilities, so he steals Deuce's like Medusa like spell and like he freezes Deuce, which is meant to be like a sad scene, but because I've watched the G1 movies, this scene was just hilarious to me because it's like, yeah, he gets frozen a couple times in G1 and yet he's perfectly fine in the next scene. Anyways, Claudine uses the power of cell phone and it defeats the teacher guy who turns him into stone. Anyways, Deuce is like saved, Monster High is saved, Claudine is praised a hero, and Bloodgood is like, I am sorry for this. Half human monster hybrids are now welcomed. There's also a little thing where Dracula supports Draculaura for learning witchcraft. And in the end, Claudine's father is accepted to like visit the school, and it's a happy ending.
Basically, the plot for the G2 movie is that witches want Draculaura because Draculaura is a vampire, and the whole witch vampire war thing happened, and they want Draculaura because she can like make the witches win. That's basically the plot. And also Toraline is here because she always has to be, and she hates humans but kind of befriends the main group at the end. This one was fine. One of the main gripes people had with like this generation is like the colors. If you think G2 was pretty bright, this one like kind of ups the brightness a tiny bit. I do agree with some people's opinions with that they should have like darkened some of the colors, and I do agree with that. Like I do feel like if you darken a couple of the colors, it would look much better. But the complaint seems to be more of like the costumes and like outfits, which like to first speak of the dolls aren't that bad. An improvement from G2, but I do feel like G2 did mix the modern and older style better. I don't know, it's just my opinion. But I will say, the outfits for the characters, I would say it will like depend. Like some outfits don't look that bad; they actually look pretty good. While other outfits look not that good. Pretty shit. Sorry. And speaking of like designs, I really like how like the school looks. The school does a really good job like being like, high school but mixed with like gothic, like spooky, like monstrous aesthetic. And to quickly bring up one thing is that I do like how at the end of like the film they show like behind the scenes images and like tiny like clips showing like the process of when they were making it and everyone just having fun. Like I do really like that because like you can see how much fun that everyone's having and how much effort they're putting into it. The quality will depend like on you yourself, obviously, but you have to admit it is nice just seeing all these photos. And I'm just gonna say this: I would love to have one of those like purple like Monster High like hoodie things, whatever the school uniform jackets. I don't know what they're called, but I'll just really love it. Please, vampire who's totally not having me as a hostage and threatening to break my legs with a crowbar. Please, I just want one of those hoodies. In the end, that was the entirety of Monster High. Well, up to this point, in which like I'm recording, that is. And yeah, that show was a journey. This series was certainly weird, but it's not all bad, I would say. It has so many different like unique concepts and bizarre plots. It was fun. If you wanted to watch these, I would kind of recommend like the original series because like there's lots of like good stuff to find in there. The second series is not as bad. It was fine, decent, but I don't think it was really. Actually, yeah, I don't think it was good. Really good. Good animation though. The third series, even though I didn't really like the live action films that much, the actual series itself, I would say go for it if you would like to. This series will always have a special place in my heart because it was the show my sister wanted to share with me, and the show she loved. Even though I wasn't able to spend like lots of time with my sister, I am happy with the time I did get to spend with her. I'm kind of happy to say I'm a fan of the series, and I was happy watching these movies because it reminded me of her. With that, it's time to conclude the video. Remember everyone, be yourself and be kind. With that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Good night.
Oh no, not my notes on the Monster High lore. Not my notes on the Monster High lore. No, I'm sorry, not my, I dropped my notes on the Monster High lore.